Well, hello, everyone. I am here today. I want to talk to y'all about some foods that you should put in your pantry, especially, and unless there's something on this list that your family does not eat. These are some things that you should put in your pantry for if you're on a budget, if you're, on a tight budget, if you're on SNAP benefits, or if you're just trying to build a good pantry. These are all items that will benefit you to have in your pantry. So these are not ready-made meals. These are going to be things that you're going to need to know how to put together to to make a meal. And if you don't know how to do that, go back and watch some of my videos, because it doesn't matter if I'm using home canned or if I'm using store-bought, it can still work the same way. So the first item on this list is peanut butter. And, especially if you've got children, to have peanut butter and jelly or something like that on your shelf can be time saver for you. But it's a good meal for a child. And then continuing the list is flour. Having flour in the pantry is an absolute essential, because, to be able to make biscuits, or if you wanted to make a cake or anything like that, you're going to need some kind of flour. And then also cornmeal. Now, when I make cornmeal, I mix a little bit of flour in my cornmeal to make cornbread. So, and then you're going to have some kind of cooking fat, be that olive oil, avocado oil, Crisco, some kind of vegetable oil, whatever your choice of cooking fat is, butter, whatever. And if you make bacon, save the fat off your bacon. That's fantastic, and that's a fantastic savings for, not having to buy your cooking fat. So, and then also some kind of beans, pintos, Great Northerns, some kind of black beans, whatever your family prefers. Make sure that you've got some kind of dried beans on your shelf. And then in addition to the beans, pasta and pasta sauce. You can always mix things with pasta, and my next item is rice. You can mix pasta and rice with vegetables or with some ground beef. You can make some very good meals that are nutritious just by mixing a few ingredients. And then potatoes. You can buy a 10-pound bag of potatoes and get several meals from one bag of potatoes. So, and then I've already mentioned, to have some ground beef. And what I would always do is buy, a family pack of ground beef, bring it home and separate it into smaller portions and then freeze it. Then that way you've got a few meals, from the ground beef of various different ways. Of course, using ground beef to brown it and mix it, to make a casserole. There's just so many ways that you can use ground beef. And then chicken. Same thing. I'd buy a family pack of chicken, bring it home, and, separate it into smaller portions and then freeze it. And then always buy extra cans of whatever fruits and vegetables that your family enjoys. Make sure you've got a lot of different kinds on the shelf to keep variety in your meal planning. And then another one that's a great thing is old-fashioned oats. And I'm not talking about these Quaker Instant stuff, these little packs of stuff. I'm talking about something you cook. Having like old-fashioned oats, I enjoy cream of wheat. Some people eat rice for breakfast. When I was a kid, we used to sweeten rice for breakfast. So that's something else that you could have if that's something you enjoy. But it's a good thing to have rice on the shelf, as I've already mentioned. But canned tomatoes. If you've got canned tomatoes, you can take that and make up a meal with your beans and your meat and your tomatoes and come up with some really good things, just using a little bit of spice with it to change things. And then, of course, you can get some canned meats. And then another thing that I usually recommend, especially if you've got children, is some Jell-O or some Jell-O pudding, because that gives you a little bit of a snack. So all of these things are, they're things that, just like I was just saying with the Jell-O, you can get a box of Jell-O and make enough to feed several people and have a good little dessert snack for your family. And it doesn't break the bank. And so now the last thing that I want to say before I end the video is to all of my listeners, if there's something that you can think of that would help somebody that's on a tight income to make a decent meal, add it in the comments below. Let's try to help the people that are on here with us as much as we can. And if you've got a little, quick, easy recipe that's not an overly expensive way to fix something, put it in the comments. And, if we work together, we can help everybody that's, on a tight income to have decent meals. So I'm going to let you go now. My voice is about gone. So until the next time, God bless y'all.